Earwig and The Witch was such a disappointing film. And I'm not saying disappointing like, oh, I'm too old for this, oh, this is a kid's film. I'm not saying it like that. No. It's just disappointing, it's boring, it's nothing. It's a nothing film. Earwig and The Witch was made by Studio Ghibli and directed by Hayao Miyazaki's son, Goro Miyazaki. This film was adapted from a book by the late Diana Wynne Jones. It's not her only book that was adapted by Studio Ghibli, another was Howl's Moving Castle. The best way to describe this film is a orphan gets adopted by witches? I think that summarizes it pretty well. But before we get into it, let's talk about something not attributed to the story itself, the CG. With this being the first Studio Ghibli film using 3D animation, it shows. While some facial expressions are unique and memorable, some of it feels and seems off. The character designs, especially for the main character and everyone else at the orphanage, it just feels a bit uninspired. So now, let's get into the story of Earwig and The Witch. After you subscribe, of course. You know, just do it, please, to help me out. This movie starts off with a woman driving away on her motorcycle from something or someone terrible, assumingly. And while this is a pretty interesting and good opening scene, she does end up arriving at an orphanage to send her child into hiding while she runs away from 12 witches, or the 12 witches, or whatever they're called. She's also a witch, by the way, and they never really state her name, but they do state her child's name. She calls her Earwig. Just call it Earwig. Yeah, just call it Earwig. I mean Earwig. She calls the child Earwig, and when the orphanage gets it, they change the baby's name to Erica Wig. As an opening scene, I didn't see anything necessarily wrong with this. It was pretty generic to send your child away at an orphanage or a family's doorstep while you're into hiding. But there's nothing really wrong with this. I thought this was a pretty solid opening for a movie. We then flash forward a few years later. Erica is now a kid who doesn't want to get adopted from an orphanage. She loves the life that she has in an orphanage with her friend Custard. She can basically do anything she wants, get away with anything she wants. Everyone does her bidding, yada yada yada. But lo and behold, as you can predict probably, she does end up getting adopted by a strange couple. One really tall looking figure and one blue-haired gal. And I say strange couple because this couple is, you know, they're witches, you know, Bella and Mandrake. I'm assuming they're both witches. They never really state what Mandrake is, and it's assuming that either he's a witch or some sort of a king of the demons or underworld or something like that. The rest of the film, by that meaning like the 45 minutes to an hour we had left, is literally just Erica doing whatever Bella asks of her, and her getting more and more upset about it because she doesn't get anything in return. The literal rest of the film is just Erica complaining that she doesn't want to do this and that Bella isn't teaching her how to be a witch, and she's just complaining and contemplating about ways she wants to try and get back at her since she realizes she can't leave the place. She later finds a cat, Thomas, who can talk. Yay, talking animals, guys. So now they both complain about situations Bella puts them through until Thomas brings up the brilliant idea of coaxing themselves with a resistance spell, a spell that resists magic, etc., etc. And then they concoct another spell which gives Bella an extra set of hands, which is what she always complains about. When Erica says, yo, why do you have me doing this? She always says it. So that's what they did. She gave her another pair of hands. That's literally the entire conflict of the film, because after she finally gets her back, Mandrake gets involved and ends up forcing Bella to actually teach Erica magic. Yep. That's literally it. That's the entire film. Not actually the entire film. There's another flash forward 6 months later after this conflict ends. And it's her saying that she basically has the same life as she did in the orphanage. Everything goes her way now. She doesn't have to do Bella's bidding anymore, etc., etc. She can go to school, talk to Custard, etc., etc. But while she's awaiting Custard to arrive at her place, there's a knock at the door. She thinks it's Custard, so she goes and answers it. And then it's her mom finally coming back. I don't know how she found out she lives there now, But it's her mom coming back and she says, "Hey, Earwig," and then the movie ends. The movie literally just ends right there. Like, what? What? All of the conflict and epilogue stated happened in the last 15 minutes of the film. It felt like it took a long time for this film to try and get off its feet. And I personally feel like it never successfully did. Erica feels like the same character she was at the beginning of the film. She didn't go through any character art to make her a better person or anything. Things just goes her way by the end of the film and everyone obeys her now like they did at the beginning in the orphanage. There are some things that I do enjoy about this film, like the music. The film surrounds itself with music, or really surrounds itself with one song by an in-film band called Earwig. Coincidentally, the band Earwig consists of Bella, Mandrake, and Erica's mom, who still doesn't have a name. And coincidentally, they adopt Erica without realizing that was her kid. The song didn't get old though, so that's a good thing. Although, now that I think about it, this promotional poster that they released for the film is a lie because it never happens within the film. We get the quote, music is magical, yada yada yada. But we never see that happen within a film. We don't know how music is magical actually. They just play music and yeah, we never see how it's magical. So if it comes to if I should recommend you this film or not, honestly, I don't think I can recommend you this film. Like, it's not a good film. I think it's a bad film, but you know, you could have differing opinions and you could think this film was good. I personally just don't think this film is good enough for you to look at. So yeah, that's what you got to take from this. I do not recommend you this film. Sorry, Studio Ghibli. That's a thumbs down for me, mate. But that's basically it. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. This is actually kind of fun, you know. Kind of looked at a little movie for once, you know, a little Scrooge light. There we go, guys. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Goodbye.